In 1995, I went to a Van Halen concert. It was the Balance Tour, and I saw him twice that year. First story, I was one of the times, in the way the amphitheaters were like this. We were about 6 rows back. I was on Eddie's side, and I was on the very outside seat, and then there was just like a concrete walkway. Well, while the band was playing, I was 17 years old, and I was just kind of like out there in the concrete, just watching and listening. And, here again, we were on Eddie's side. And Eddie Van Halen looked at me, pointed at me because I was out there. It was hard not to see, and threw a pick to me. And I'll never forget that. I actually locked eyes with Edward Van Halen at a show. And incidentally, I didn't get the pick because there was some other guy that came from the row behind me, or one of the rows behind me. And he wrestled me for the pick, but it was dark and stuff like that. So that was a really cool experience. And at that time in my life, you couldn't have told me there was any other band or guitar player in the whole world other than that. Fast forward to 2020, I was a bit of a mess in life. By January 22nd, that was my sobriety date. I got sober, and I have been ever since. Well, fast forward to October 2020, as we all know, Edward Van Halen passed away. And I'm so happy that he passed away, that when he died, he was sober, because I know how important those years probably were to his family, to his band, to his son who was in the band, Wolfie. But as anybody knows who's ever tried to leave some things like that behind, really it could be anything in your life behind, it can be difficult. I had a dream one night, and I was in a room, and there were lots of things going on that I should not be involved in. And I'm only, January, 10 months sober at this point. And in that dream, Edward Van Halen was in that dream, and he told me to follow him into this other room, out of the room with all the people doing things that I didn't need to be around. And that was pretty interesting for me, questioning everything and having that dream, and take it for what it's worth. Whatever it means to you, whatever you believe in, that's fine. But that dream sticks with me. And that moment that I was at the Van Halen concert sticks with me a great deal. That's an experience. A lot of people have had that experience, but for me, that was my experience. So anyway, I wanted to do something that was a tribute to Edward, but not just a tribute of me playing his material or putting stuff together. If you want to watch somebody play Eddie Van Halen songs and just slay it, watch Phil X or Pete Thorne or any other 8-year-old on YouTube that can probably do it. I don't know that I'm that good, but what I do know is that what Edward meant to me as a player, and to many of us as guitar players, it was about expanding your boundaries and pushing your boundaries, pushing the boundaries and the limitations of your gear and your instrument and all these things. So I went into this thing that you're about to hear as an improv. And I was like, well, I want to do some tapping, which is something that I don't normally do. And as I started to tap, the piece that I'm about to play became a lot more compositional, probably like Eruption, maybe. Of course, mine's probably more of a slow ooze as opposed to an eruption. But it's good, and I'm really, really proud of it. But it became more and more compositional, and it literally has taken me weeks to do this. Now, sitting down with my Strat, which has a Seymour Duncan Hot Rails pickup in it, so it does have humbucker in the back in the bridge. Sitting down with a small practice amp with a lot of distortion, I slay this part. I slay this piece. However, the way I recorded it with a 4-input Marshall no distortion pedal, and a Strat, and the guitar and the amp turned way up, that became much more of a challenge. And this was almost like method acting in a way to get into the character, what it must have been like in 78 when Eddie recorded that record and recorded Eruption, because I didn't realize how physical it was going to be to play with that gear setup until I tried to do this. And 2 different nights in a rehearsal room trying to play that, because I can't play that amp at my house because it's just ungodly loud. But man, what an experience. What a cool thing. So the composition that I made, because of the physicality of that particular gear setup, I had to change everything. Like there's a little high tapping part that I do in there that I had to speed up because the amp starts to feed back before I can get the line out. The phaser pedal I used was kind of a crappy phaser pedal, and I know that the Phase 90 is a little bit more transparent and doesn't necessarily color it. So some of the runs that I do get a little bit muddy because of that crappy phaser pedal, but you know what? I know that I could play. It sounds good. It came off really, really well. I'm really, really, really proud of it. And I'm going to do a quick rig rundown for you. I hope you dig this video. Long live Edward Van Halen. Please like and subscribe, and please comment. What would you have done differently? What did you think about the video? Was it just terrible? Was it good? Whatever. I'd love to hear from you. And I would love to see some of your videos if you've done any videos. This was a massive undertaking as a player. And it's taken me almost a month to get this video done. But please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And you can catch me at my website is stefanutzler.com if you want to look at me for lessons or anything like that, or if you just want to shoot me an email or something. Love to hear from you. So without further ado, here is my tribute to Edward Van Halen. Okay, so it's time for a quick rig rundown. So here's what we got today. I'm playing this Strat right here with Seymour Duncan's, Graphtec saddles, 20-gauge strings, locking tuners. This is the amp. This is a 1990s JCM 900 combo that now is in head form. It literally, it's been hot rodded. It's a 4-input right now, so it's a super bass essentially. Right now I'm channel jumped. Volume is on about 2. Volume 2 is on about 4 maybe. There's no master volume, even though it says that. That's been removed. The treble does something weird, like so all the way down is where it sounds best. I don't know. Bass is on about 4, mid-range on about 6. No presence. That presence on this anyway just gets a little bit more bitey. And pedal-wise, very similar to the King. Nothing much, just a tuner, a Morley wah that I use just for the intro. Boss GE7, a really crappy $10 phaser, and an old vintage Ibanez delay. Really simple. It was a challenge to muscle this out of a Strat and with no distortion pedal or anything. And this amp is loud as big Jesus. So yeah, I hope you dig it. Have fun. Love to see your comments. Click, subscribe. Please leave your comments. Tell me what you would have done differently to do something like this. Thanks for watching.